Swim check 1, 2. Bike check 1, 2. Run check 1, 2. I think we're ready. Let's try this. Welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast, a podcast where we explore the sport of triathlon from a variety of perspectives to help beginner triathletes on their journey. I am your host, Nashonda Shines. It's another day here at Try Beginner's Luck, and the person that I have today, she is the reason why I was introduced to triathlon. Oftentimes, exposure is the key to greatness. If we aren't exposed to things, we don't know what our potential perhaps could be. And I am of the thought that give people their flowers while they're here. Honor those who have introduced you into something that has inspired you. And today I have none other than Leslie Tooks, who introduced me to the sport of triathlon via a relay. What? And I don't even know where to begin, but I feel like I was sort of kind of bamboozled into this triathlon because I thought it was a pool swim, or thinking that it was pool, but then Lake Lanier and pool doesn't coexist. So I had no idea that open water swimming for the first time would be at this race. And because I'm comfortable with swimming, I was able to survive it. But then when I got out of the water, I was like, well, where are these people going? People went to go bike and then they went to go run. And I said, what am I at? And I was at my very first triathlon at Lake Lanier in Georgia back in 2008. Oh my goodness. So Leslie, welcome to Try Beginner's Luck. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor. Oh my gosh. I just can't believe this.
Believe it.
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
And I see you have on the swim bike run shirt. I know people probably won't see the video of it because, you know, we're training and my hair doesn't look right. So this might not get out, but I'm just so excited to see you and just really, I want to say thank you. I never knew, I never knew at the time working at Turner Sports would have me be here today. And it's always not about where we are at that moment in time, but it's about the people that we meet, the seeds that are planted, and watching them mature and grow. Who knew in 2008, a young whippersnapper like myself, who was a little hot-headed, would go to work out during her lunch breaks at the gym to take spin classes. And I think that's probably where we initially met, was at spin class. And then CNN had a pool. So I would go to CNN to swim after work. And I think you saw me swimming and was like, would you like to be a part of this team? Who knew that, say, almost 14 years later, I would be here on a podcast talking about beginner triathlons or beginner triathletes and be an announcer in this industry, be a triathlete going after her first Ironman. Like, I have all the emotions and feel like I should cry right now, and I want to cry.
I know.
But thank you.
I know. I feel that same way. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. I actually remember it as clear as day because I usually do triathlons for my birthday, and that was my birthday party. And so I was pulling a few others together who wanted to actually do a triathlon, but they couldn't do it all together at one time at that point. And I remember you were able to swim, another colleague was able to run, and another one was able to do the bike to form the relay part of that triathlon.
Yeah.
And it just warms my heart to see that I cannot believe, by inviting you to that triathlon birthday party with, my former boss. He was an elite triathlete. He is an elite triathlete. Some other friends of mine that we do triathlons all the time together, and then introducing the sport to others who never did it and were open to doing it, who were interested in doing it. And by seeing me as an example, said, okay, I'm going to try it. And it was so awesome that you accepted the invite. You did it outstandingly. I remember that day like it was yesterday. And then not only did you do it, but you continued to do it and you took it a step further. Obviously, you got bit by the triathlon bug. And
It's a real thing.
now, 13, 14 years later, you're doing an Ironman. And oh, that is just so remarkable. My heart is so full of joy right now that way your journey, the journey that you have taken on has really taken off. And I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. I actually spoke to, because I'm still friends with my former boss. So actually we did a jog together the other day, and I was telling him about, I was telling him about you, about how, oh my gosh, you remember Mashonda did the relay with us some years ago? Well, now she's doing a full-on Ironman. And we were just like, wow, how cool is that? How amazing.
I have all the feels, and I guess if this was a real journalist, if I was a real journalist, I shouldn't be crying, but
Yeah, no,
I think the
amazing.
authenticity of this is that you never know how one invitation can change your life.
Yeah,
And since 2008, I think I left Turner in 2010, and then moved to DC and
right.
literally started over. It wasn't until maybe 2013, 2014 that I found a triathlon team. And I just remember that was a bucket list item. And I just thought it would be a one and done type thing. And never knowing that today I would be training for a full Ironman. And again, I'm not one of those who always finishes in the top of my
Yeah,
age group. No, but I have heart. And I think
yeah,
about, what if I would have been introduced to this sport when I was younger, the access for people of color, or, and
yeah,
for those who may not be able to afford this sport, because it is very expensive and it is very
yeah,
time consuming. So I just wonder, what would it have been like? The personality type of a triathlete is one who is a check mark, a type type person for the most part. They're goal oriented. They are trying to get
correct.
better. They want to continue to grow. So the personalities type is there, but just what this sport has done to me in terms of the confidence booster allowed me to see health in a different way. It's like, I
Yeah,
want that to happen for everybody. And I'm like, this is a sport where you literally can try until you die. Like, you
yeah,
can keep going until you are 99 years old if you stay fit and active and take care of your body. This is such
yeah,
a great sport. And it is my desire to just get as many people involved. And relays, honestly, are the best way. I did a relay for Eagle Man this year. And I was like, why would anybody do a full thing after doing that? A relay doing this? It's so much funner. And you have so much more fun doing a relay um, than actually doing the full thing. And so I just want to just say, and for those of you who are listening and you hear me rambling, I have all the feels right now. And you just got to know, you probably have somebody in your life who's done that for you. And although we
yeah.
don't talk every day, we see each other on the Instawebs and on the social grams of things in life. But this moment is special for me. So
That's
it's not about
amazing.
me. And I want to get
Yeah,
into the nitty gritty of you,
that,
Leslie, because in 2008, being a woman of color, you introduced me to this sport, and how oftentimes that we don't see many women of color doing the sport, but there are people who have been doing the sport, around the same amount of time that you've been doing it, and have taken it through different ways. And what the name comes to mind is Colonel Vaughn, who's up in this area, who was doing triathlons when it wasn't cool. And I can add to that same platform of doing triathlons when it wasn't cool. How did you get involved in triathlons yourself?
Yeah, for me, it started from my dad. He's a triathlete. I grew up watching my dad. He would run and bike to work, like 25 miles each way, depending on his shift. He would do it in the morning or at night, and so it's just something that he did, and I saw it in him growing up as a young child. And actually, that's where I got the concept of doing triathlons for my birthday, because my dad, for his birthday, we would ask him what he would want, and he would say, "Oh, we could do a run together, or swim together, or a bike. Give me that as a gift versus materialistic things." That's where that whole concept came from a young child. So I agree with you. It's the exposure. I was exposed to it very young from my dad, and then his cousins and relatives in Brazil. They're all ultra marathon runners and triathletes. And so it's just something that we've been exposed to very early on. And then, of course, my circle of friends, the old saying, birds of a feather flock together. I have a really extensive circle of workout gyms, and
Hmm.
I've been doing this all my life. So it's just something that I was exposed to early, and then and I was passionate about. So it always has been a part of my life to bike, run, and swim.
Wow, that's
And,
incredible.
and I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head. It is the exposure piece of it, and just seeing it again from my dad and relatives.
Mm.
That's what they do. They travel all over not only the country but the world to do triathlons and compete, because it's something that they're passionate about.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. So, when you started doing triathlons, what was one of your biggest challenges, and when did you start doing triathlons?
I started triathlons actually at Turner about 20 years ago when I was working at Turner. So leading up to that point, I used to do a lot of swimming, a lot of running races like 5, 10Ks, half a marathons and marathons.
Hmm.
And then I would do a lot of biking, but I had not put them all together until I got to Turner 20 years ago. And then I connected with a friend who, she was a triathlete. And she invited me to do one with her, actually.
Hmm.
This, similar to what happened with you and I. And then she asked me to do a triathlon with her, and I said, wow, I've been wanting to do that. I've been doing the running, biking, and swimming piece. And then we just signed up for one at, it was Callaway Gardens is where my first one was at.
Oh, Callaway Gardens is so
And I did
pretty.
it with her. We trained 3 months out for it. And then after that, I just started doing them once a month for 6 months out of the year,
Oh, wow.
up until I got pregnant and I had my twins. Then um then I did maybe one or two a year.
Wow.
So yeah, but for most of, I would say for a good 10 years I would do six a year,
So that
one a month, 6 months out of the year.
60 triathlons, and that's before you even had the twins.
Yeah,
Wow.
before I had the twins. But I've always done sprints and Olympic triathlons. I've never done the big dog like you. So that's really admirable, to do an Ironman. My hat goes off to you. I'm so excited about seeing your journey and having that under your belt. That is going to be so awesome.
You know, I love the fact that we all have a journey, right? I love the
Yeah.
people who know where their sweet spot is. And if sprints and Olympics are your sweet spot, that's my sweet
Yeah.
spot. I'm learning today too. Like, I also think like the 70.3, it's a good distance for like the endurance. I like endurance. But the Ironman, for those who do it, my hat goes off to y'all. I know
Yeah.
I can't say that I will do another one unless somebody is
Yeah.
paying me to do it. Like, here is some
Right.
money. Here is the money for you to go out here and do this. But
Yeah.
it's been fun training, but no, it really is a fun thing, and you got to know where you fit in this sport, whether you do sprints and that's what you do and you master the sprints, or Olympics, or relays, or however you fit in this industry, there's space for you. Take it up. Take up
Right.
space in this industry however you see fit. I know I sure am.
Exactly. 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 And that's similar. Like I've done, as I mentioned, 5, 10Ks, half a marathon, full marathon, a century bike. And I knew that I did it just to check it off my list, invited by some of a circle of my friends. And they said, let's just do this together. But I would not do it again, a century. And I think it's important to do like what you said, know your sweet spot, know what you enjoy. It's all about enjoying the journey. And all the triathlons I've done, some of them earlier on when before my twins, I used to place in my age group. But now I just did one last weekend and I just did it to have fun. And I was actually be on the home stretch on the run part. I came in, no shame in my game, behind an 80-year-old man. I said, "Oh my gosh, I want to be like him."
It inspires
Yeah,
you, right?
it inspired me. I That's why I said no shame in my game. I don't have any problem about it. It was so inspirational, Mashonda, that that's what I want to be doing when I'm that age. That's so incredible. So yes, just having fun and enjoying the sport very much. And now for me, it's heartwarming to see my twins do it too. Again, that exposure. They've been doing it since 6 years old.
Wow.
And they're 14. So they do it every year for their birthday. They pick a triathlon and they do it for the cause, and they do it with their friends. And I remember at 6 when they asked to do it, because they had been swimming, they had already been swimming competitively,
Hmm.
they have been biking, and they have been running. It was it Everyone's like, Leslie, oh my gosh, you're pushing those kids to do triathlon so young. They came home and asked me could they do a triathlon with their friends, because their friends asked them could they do it with them.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And the friends who invited them, their parents are Ironman. They both have done Ironman.
Wow.
So it's being that expo again. What the point I'm making is that exposure. They 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 saw it in their friends who were exposed to it, and it's something that they do now every year for their birthday. That's what they do.
Uh, did you? I think I told you I was trying to emulate your birthday triathlon party for 2020. I was like, yeah, I had invited all these friends to do their relay, to do relay teams, and I was going to set people up.
Yeah.
And then we had some unfortunate situations that didn't allow us to do the birthday party. But a
Uh,
few of us still, because we were able to transfer the race to this year, 2021, we did it. And so I got to celebrate my
okay.
birthday. Uh, I wasn't with a whole bunch of friends as planned for 2020, but it was just really good to be out there. And some friends had come down and they were like, wow, you guys do some hard stuff. I think I may
Yeah.
want to like maybe try a relay or something. And I was like, see, that's what it's about. Even if people come to
That's
watch
what
you,
it's about.
they see the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is electrifying.
Right.
Like, you go out there, you see people with their cowbells, they're cheering people on, they have shirts on for their family members or friends that they're supporting. And it is one big day party without
It is
all of the
electrifying.
accoutrements of wine and all that other kind of good stuff. But it is one big happy day party with music, exciting
Yeah,
announcers like myself out there on the ones and twos. And it really is a true big workout party. You know,
it is.
I love
It
it.
is. It's how you, yes, it's perspective, and that's how I look at it, and that's how my twins already from this young age look at it. They're like, we're gonna have a tri party for a worthy cause and get all our friends together, and then afterwards they celebrate, their birthday together, and the tradition continues. That's what I did with my dad. That's what they do, and
I love it. And that's what their children's children will do. So tell me this,
probably.
your kids, uh, they don't probably get trying for a cause just out of nowhere, but they've seen you try for a cause. And what are the causes that you support when you're doing triathlons?
Cancer is definitely a big cause I support because my husband is a cancer survivor, my dad is a cancer survivor, my two sisters, and my godmother. So they are cancer survivors, and my mom passed of cancer 10 years ago. So I definitely, all my life, not only for triathlons, but for races in general, I support triathlons for causes for cancer. So definitely cancer is one. Um, I would say another one is mental health. As of late, is a big cause that I support. I'm actually thinking of putting something together for mental health due to a dear friend of mine who we're seeing it in real life, how they're impacted by it. So that's another cause. And diabetes. So those three causes definitely inspire me. Like on the days if I don't feel like training, I do because I think, especially the cancer ones, because it hits home for me so much.
Right.
I will get up and train because I know I draw strength from my husband and my father, my sisters, my godmother, who are all cancer survivors, and I've seen the strength that they've had to
Yeah,
fight it. And so I always am reminded, if they could do it, I certainly can do this. And so
absolutely.
that fuels me. So
Absolutely.
doing my races for causes that are very dear to my heart empowers me,
Yeah.
undoubtedly.
Yeah. And it changes the why, you know,
Yes,
it changes the why, and it takes it off of you and puts it
correct.
on a greater body and support. So when you're looking inward and you are like, ugh, this sucks. Why am I here? You can remember, hey, I'm doing it for my husband. I'm doing it for my godmother, my aunts, my sister, my mom.
Correct.
And I think that's admirable. And you hit on one, which is mental health. I don't think
Right.
many people, we don't talk about mental health enough. And
Right.
mental health definitely in communities of color, it's like you don't talk about it. It's you sweep it under the rug
Correct.
and you don't talk about it, and you have people um, who can't get the help that they need because they're afraid, and they feel like, oh, I'm looked upon as if I have this dot on my forehead because I want to because I'm going through this challenge from a mental perspective. And if anything
Exactly.
COVID has taught us is that your mental was definitely tested.
Yes.
Your mental was tested, and how did you weather that storm? And it's definitely something that we will hear more about in the future. And I just thank you for having the foresight to go ahead and, stay on top of it and, try to help those in your circle of loved ones to get through that.
Yeah, and I also on the same breath of mental health, I think tr- competing in triathlons helps me mentally, like because of my regimen, it definitely helps me mentally to fight off the crazy of the what's going on. There's no doubt that my exercise daily routines help me not only physically but mentally.
I
And
would say a
so
resounding yes to that.
yeah, and so it's a two-way street. It helps me with my own self as well as giving back to whatever cause it is.
hmm
So
Yeah. And, as athletes, well, as people, we all have stuff, we all have
yeah,
challenges. And how do you manage that will determine the outcome. And
that is
having healthy ways to combat it, I 100% say working out is one of the top ways to have those
yes.
endorphins flowing so that you can
Yeah.
process health in a healthy way, the challenges that you're going through. I would say this year, I didn't anticipate some of the things that I would have to go through. And if it was
Yeah.
not for me training for this full Ironman, to have
Yeah.
those long stretches of time, 6 hours on the bike to think, or long
Yeah.
swims in the pool to think, I would probably be um somewhere that I don't want to say, because
Yeah.
you can feel like things are happening at such a fast pace. I'm by myself, even though you're not by yourself, because we're having to social distancing and now going back into social distancing, and it's a lot. And so
It
having a
is a lot.
healthy way to process and
Combating.
combat it is 100% the way to go. And doing it in a
Yeah.
healthy way that's sustainable. Because that's the thing, is
Yeah.
finding sustainable ways to maintain your mental health will help you when you see the triggers rising, or when you see or something happens that takes you for a loop, and you're like, you know what, it's okay, I'm going to deal with that in a second. I'm going to go out here for this run, or this walk around the block to clear my head
Yeah.
before I respond, because our response to things is our responsibility, period.
That is so true.
Not to
That
get
is
off on a
so
tangent on mental health, but I think it's so important.
yeah.
And
It,
yeah, it is
it's
so important.
related to try, competing in triathlons. It's all interrelated as well.
Absolutely.
So it helps, especially in the times that we're in right now.
For sure. So you have a demanding job, Leslie. You have been
Yeah.
featured in Essence magazine. I think
Yeah.
it was in what, 2009, for your
Yeah.
work-life balance of having new twins, being an older mom, and
Yes.
working. Talk to those who are out here balancing it all from a woman's perspective, and even dads who are out here, raising their children. How do you manage a demanding job, working full time, training for races, and keeping a healthy lifestyle while also being 100% present for your family?
Yeah. I would say is prioritizing oneself. It's I don't mean to simplify it, make it sound like it's that simple, but it really is that simple, Mashanda. Even before my twins, that's how I operated. I prioritized health. And I believe I spoke about this in the Essence magazine article that I, for me, working out, I prioritize it just like brushing my teeth and having breakfast and doing your hair. It's part of it was part of my routine. Now, I will say I did fall off of the bandwagon after I had the twins, and I had to get back on track of reprioritizing myself. And that happened during COVID, actually, Mashanda. I reallocated my commute time to working out in the morning. So what I would have spent commuting to work, I used to get back on track and get back into my workout routine. So it's having a routine and prioritizing that block of time. I don't, as soon as I wake up, for me, mornings are the best time for me to get my exercise in before I jump into work and taking care of taking the kids or doing anything else. So at one point when I fell off the bandwagon, I deprioritized myself. That's why I said, oh, it's really that simple. You just have to prioritize yourself. And when you do, you get it done. So I prioritize health and fitness first and foremost because that helps me show up most effectively for my kids, for my husband, and for my work family. So if I do that first, then everything else, I can optimize myself for everything else. When I don't do that, I can get everything else done, but not as effectively.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. So, what are your favorite workouts these days?
Oh gosh, it's so many. My favorite, I love my Peloton routines. It's just, for me, I can't wait to go to bed at night to wake up to do my routine in the morning.
Wow.
So that could be one day strength training, one day core, one day outdoor walking, running. It varies,
So,
but all of it is my favorite because it's always so very exciting.
so you sip the Peloton juice, I see.
I think I'm part of the Peloton cult. Yeah. They
Listen.
call it a cult because you get so I hate to say addicted because that sounds negative.
Mhm.
So I switched the word around because when I said addicted to someone before, they said, so when you are addicted, then you have no control. And are you not like doing your work and you're working out constantly? No, I'm in control. So I do it in the mornings at this time. So instead of saying I have a Peloton addiction, I have a Peloton love affair.
Mm, I like that. That's sexier. A Peloton love affair. And
Love affair.
with you just recently doing a triathlon, do you feel like doing the Peloton has helped you to train for your triathlon that you just accomplished?
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand because it helped with strength training, the core training, the meditations, the the recovery days. It helps you to create habits.
Mhm.
And so when you have those habits that you're excited about, you're that helps. It all goes hand in hand. So riding on the bike translates to riding outdoors as well. Just as running on the treadmill translates to running outside, they help each other. The core training helps, developing your core helps you be stronger on the bike, on the swim,
Mm.
on the jog. All of it is interrelated. And having those recovery days where you're doing the meditation and the stretching. That's what Peloton offers. It's holistic. And so it's not always about focusing on the training, it's also focusing on a way to recharge.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what's next for you with the world of triathlon? Are you doing any more triathlon birthday relays in the future?
Uh, I This year I'm not going to do one for my birthday in September. I am going to do a boot camp for my birthday. So I am always switching things up.
Mhm.
So sometimes I'll do a triathlon for my birthday, or sometimes I may do a jog for my birthday with a bunch of friends. I get together and we jog. This year we're going to do a boot camp. and it'll be a combination of different exercises outdoors in the park, hopefully if it doesn't rain. And if it does rain, then we will do it, the it'll be it all on a smaller scale on the Peloton with my friends that have it, and we could collaborate that way and do a class together. But I hope to do it outside in the park. That's my goal, for my birthday this year, and then be there, of course, for my twins' birthday party. They're doing a tri. So that'll be the end of the tri season for this year. And then next year, my tri goals are to do one in Bermuda, where I'm from. I've done marathons and 5 and 10Ks there, but I haven't done a triathlon there. And all of my relatives are like, especially since Flora Duffy, who's Bermudian, won the
Yes. She's so
here.
dope.
And yeah, and so all of my relatives in Bermuda want me to come home and do it there. Now, of course, I'm not going, I don't anticipate placing, but just to do it back home in Bermuda is rewarding for me. And
Li-
especially because I've come out of triathlon, doing triathlons. I've come out of triathlon. I was retired from triathlons after having the kids.
mhm.
The last try I did was when they were 3, and now they're 13. So it's actually 10 years since I did a try last weekend.
Wow.
So it was 10 years since I did one.
And how did you
And now
feel?
I'm so happy. Now I'm happy to be back, and to the point of what we talked about earlier, seeing that 80-year-old man has inspired me that no, I'm not retired from triathlons. Um, yeah, I want to keep on.
I love it. And going back to Flora Duffy, that young
Yeah.
lady is on fire. She is the
Yeah.
first woman to win both the Olympic gold and the national championship, which she did on yesterday. She is a bad girl. And
Yes.
whenever you go back to Bermuda, can you put me on the list so that I can do that triathlon with you? Because I want to
I
be there.
will.
And then I want to meet Flora and be like, can I just bow down? Because you are a bad chick. Come on, Flora, with your bad self. Yeah, she's doing it. And
Definitely. I will absolutely let you know when I register for that try in Bermuda, and see if you want to invite you to join me to do it together. That would be great.
I would love it. So,
Hopefully we could meet her if she's there, if she's on the island, because she travels a lot, as you know, internationally too. So
yeah, she does. But Flora, if you can hear us somehow telepathically, there's no
yes,
distance in the spirit. So, Flora, we need you at this triathlon to be an ambassador for us so that we can see you and see all the greatness that you are bringing into Bermuda and showing how
yeah,
Bermudans can do this sport and do it well. Big
yeah.
things come out of small places. I often say that about my hometown of Augusta, Georgia. I'm like, what? I'm from Augusta, Georgia. People are like, oh, we're the Masters. Yeah, home of the
There
Masters.
you
But
go.
big things come out of small places. And Flora is definitely on fire right now. It's her time. And I know she's been on the grind for such a long time. And
She
her
has.
hard work has paid off. And it's a testament to see her and I'm just so happy whenever I see her. Like, and she does it with such ease. Like, yep, I'm just going to
She
run across this finish line looking like a cool breeze. I'm here for it. But no,
she yeah, that would be so cool. I agree with you 100%. To have the honor of meeting her there too would be icing on the cake. So
yeah.
actually we're going to make that happen.
That's
So
it. We're gonna make it happen, and it'll be a party. Whoop whoop.
it sure would. And then we could celebrate our victory afterwards on the beach, Bermudian style. So
Come on, I am here for it. Well, Leslie, thank you so much. I just honor you, and just say thank you for planting a seed in me that I never knew how it will bloom, and it's still growing. So we don't know what it will look like even 5 years from now or 10 years from now. But I just want to say thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your encouragement because you constantly encourage me, and you're like, "I see you." actually told me to, she, I have to share this. She's like, what are
Yeah.
you on MyFitnessPal? I don't do all that meal tracking, meal prepping, all that stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
and she's like, well, we're between that and Map My Fitness, and then My Fitness Pal. So she's constantly, whenever she sees a workout, she's like liking it. I'm like, how does she do that so
Yeah.
fast? But I see her workouts as well come in, and it's like an accountability situation. You know, you see the
Correct.
workouts, and she was like, that's what we're
Correct.
going to do. We're going to keep each other accountable. And so,
Right.
what,
Right.
14 years later, and she's still holding me accountable and still not knowing how those little things and seeds are still affecting my life today. So thank you. And I thank God for having me work at Turner during that season of my life, because it was a purpose. And that purpose, even of all the other things of the purpose for me being there, I know one of them was for me to meet you and for you to do your part, because you were in place to implant and impart in my life. So thank you so much, Leslie. And
You're
I
so
appreciate you. I honor you, and keep inspiring those in your community, your friends, the people who see you working out and seeing your lifestyle change. You never know how what you do affect others. And so to all of you who are listening, do your part. We all have roles to play. And if we play our roles and we play our parts and we quote unquote try beginner's luck, we will always win. It is undoubtedly that we will win, because whenever you try, you win, period. It may not look like a win in the moment, but it ultimately is always a win, because we always are learning and getting better. And so thank you all for viewing this. And until the next episode, keep trying. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. We need your help so we can continue to try at TBL. So for more information on where you can find and subscribe to this podcast, visit www.trybeginnersluck.com. And don't forget, whenever you try beginner's luck, you always win.